Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to yet another session on the Merit Shine channel, and it's a delight as always to be in front of you. This is Ravi once again. हर बार हम सेशन में कुछ ना कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग बात करते हैं और आज का सेशन भी कुछ इसी तरह का है, बट नॉट फ्रॉम प्योरली एन एग्जाम स्टैंड पॉइंट बट समथिंग मोर इन जनरल टर्म्स. और जितना मैं ये जनरल अवेयरनेस और बैंकिंग अवेयरनेस के लिए आप लोग के लिए सेशंस तैयार कर रहा था और कंटेंट तैयार कर रहा था, I came across a lot of interesting news which made me think about this very relevant question. और ये क्वेश्चन ये है कि जो प्रोबेशनरी ऑफिसर वाला पोस्ट है जो आप IBPS के थ्रू अचीव करते हो या फिर SBI के थ्रू अचीव करते हो, is it equivalent to success? Right? So obviously PO बनना in itself is a big achievement because obviously you're competing with so many students, so many aspirants, and you're achieving success. But point is, that is the first step, right? So अगर आप प्रोबेशनरी ऑफिसर बन जाते हो, इफ यू बिकम अ प्रोबेशनरी ऑफिसर, डज दैट गारंटी सक्सेस इन द फ्यूचर एज वेल? अब आप ये पूछेंगे कि ये सवाल आया कैसे, राइट? सो ऑब्वियसली मेनी ऑफ यू वुड हैव गॉन थ्रू अ लॉट ऑफ कंटेंट विद रिगार्ड्स टू योर प्रिपरेशन फॉर द जनरल अवेयरनेस, बैंकिंग अवेयरनेस पोर्शंस एज वेल. एंड एक ट्रिगर पॉइंट था मेरे केस में wherein this news came in, wherein Mr. Sharat Sharma has basically been appointed as the non-executive director of Yes Bank. Yeah, so this was a recent news that came in the month of November. And इस चीज को आप ज्यादा डीप में देखने की कोशिश करेंगे तो आप समझेंगे कि शरद शर्मा जो है, he is actually a career banker who spent more than 40 years in the banking industry. And guess what? He started his career as a PO, and it started off with Union Bank of India, and then he moved on as the PO in SBI in 1977. So 1975 में Union Bank of India, उसके बाद 1977 में SBI PO, right? And from there on, he took up many interesting positions within SBI, came up higher and higher in the ranks, and to a point wherein he actually also became a part of the Canadian subsidiary, 100% subsidiary of State Bank of India in Canada. And he actually ran the business operations for SBI there as well. So not only was he exposed from an India standpoint, but from a global standpoint as well. And this exposure was not just limited to SBI, but he also got opportunities to lead the bank in various capacities. And eventually, between the period 2012 to 2016, he was also the MD of State Bank of Mysore as well. And he was seconded from SBI at that point in time. So not just exposure from SBI perspective, but also the other affiliates also gave him a leading opportunity with State Bank of Mysore as well. And he also basically now gets an opportunity to be a non-executive director outside the realm of public sector banks and into a private sector bank, which is Yes Bank, right? So this is a phenomenal growth trajectory that you see for a PO, and that is something which is phenomenal. Now, the 1977 year is quite relevant because now the girls, you must be thinking, yaar, are the guys the only ones who are achieving success? Absolutely not. So 1977 was the year in which Arundhati Bhattacharya, who's a very well-known name in the banking circles, she basically joined as a PO in State Bank of India at the age of 22 years. Now, she is a phenomenal name in the banking circles. She is a phenomenal name in women who have achieved success. The way she managed her family responsibilities, the way she handled a long distance relationship, because many of her postings within SBI were at different locations, including international postings as well. And then eventually basically becoming the chairman of one of the biggest public sector banks in India, with State Bank of India. But was that the end of her career? Absolutely not, right? So she basically is an independent director at Reliance as well. Then basically she had various opportunities within SBI as well. So she was looking at treasury, she had international exposure as well. She had opportunities wherein she created new spheres of opportunity like SBI General Insurance. Then you talk about the custodial operations. Then she also was leading SBI Capital Markets at some point in time. But all of this was within the sphere of SBI itself. But what after that? You know, Salesforce is one of the leading world's giants as far as CRM is concerned, right? Customer relationship management. Salesforce is a highly reputed global organization. And basically post-retirement, Arundhati Bhattacharya has basically been appointed as the CEO for India in the year 2020 for a global organization called Salesforce. Now, what does Salesforce bring to the table? Of course, it is a leading global tech organization, and a PO from State Bank of India is going on to lead a private organization, a global organization, that to a tech-oriented organization, right? And just imagine the amount of skills that are required to be a CEO of a tech organization. It's a SaaS-based company, and you're looking at leading that company from an India standpoint. It's a phenomenal achievement because, see, this kind of a position requires huge skill sets, and the Salesforce leadership team found her capable enough of being able to pull this off, to be able to pull this CEO level position. Just imagine what kind of faith that they have in her. And a lot of those skills that she has acquired has actually come in during her stint at State Bank of India, during various kinds of roles that she has taken up, right? So that is the context that I want to bring to the table, that the kind of exposure that a probationary officer gives you, right, is something which is very well respected, not just in the public sector, but also in the private sector, and not just in the private sector, in the global scenario as well. Because Salesforce at the end of the day is a global conglomerate, right? So from that perspective, this is a big achievement. And if you look at recent past, I mean, there are so many examples within this year itself. You take the case of, let's say, Baldev Prakash, who's now going to be heading J&K Bank. And then you take the case of, let's say, Ram Mohan Rao Amara, who's going to be heading SBI Cards and Payments. And many such related examples are there. And obviously, I have my own personal examples also, wherein a lot of friends have done well in this space. Obviously, they've not reached to that scale wherein they're publicly famous names at this point of time. But there are many such POs who have achieved greatness in their field itself. So the point is that PO gives you the kind of career trajectory which gives you a lot of learning opportunities. A probationary officer is considered as someone from an organizational perspective, as an individual who has the capacity to lead after a point in time. Generally, हम MBAs के बाद बोलते हैं ना, many of the MBAs actually get their first jobs as a management trainee. In fact, I also was a management trainee in one of the leading global conglomerate banks. And management trainee का perspective क्या होता है? Management trainee का perspective ये होता है कि this is an individual who's going to be groomed for leadership roles in the future. And same is the case with probationary officer as well, because this individual, he or she is being groomed for greatness. He or she is being groomed for achieving success in the future. बिकॉज वो पोटेंशियल है, जो पीओ बनता है उसमें वो पोटेंशियल है, उसमें वो कैपेसिटी है कि आगे चल के वो और भी अच्छा कर सके. बट इसमें एक सवाल आता है कि अगर हम पीओ बने, राइट, डज दैट बेसिकली एंश्योर दैट आई विल बी सक्सेसफुल, राइट? सो हमने बोला, इज द क्वेश्चन पीओ इक्वल टू सक्सेस? यस, पीओ कैन डेफिनेटली बी इक्वल टू सक्सेस, बट इसमें एक कंडीशनैलिटी आती है, राइट? अगर जिस विगर के साथ, जिस एंथुजियाज्म के साथ, जिस मोटिवेशन के साथ आप पीओ बनने के लिए जोश के साथ तैयारी कर रहे हो, उसी जोश को मेंटेन करते हुए अगर आपने करियर में भी प्रोग्रेस किया, देन पीओ जो है इक्वल टू सक्सेस हो जाएगा. बट यदि एक बार आप पीओ बन जाएं, उसके बाद आप संतुष्ट हो जाते हैं, इफ यू बिकम सेटिस्फाइड विद जस्ट बीइंग अ पीओ, then of course greatness might not be your cup of tea. But if you're someone who aspires to be great, if you're someone who aspires to achieve greatness, and you also want to be a role model for the youngsters, right, in that situation you have to just look at one word, and that is attitude, right? एक बार पीओ बन भी जाए, उसके बाद भी अगर आप वही एटीट्यूड के साथ लर्निंग वाले ट्रेजेक्टरी पे चलते जाएंगे, इफ यू कंटिन्यू ऑन दैट सेम ट्रेजेक्टरी ऑफ लर्निंग एंड यू कीप प्रोग्रेसिंग, देन यू कैन डेफिनेटली अचीव ग्रेटनेस, नॉट जस्ट एज अ पीओ बट ऑल्सो in other spheres of life, also in other allied sectors as well, because ये जो experience आप gain कर रहे होंगे as a PO, that is highly respected in the industry, that is highly valued, right? So if you're someone with the right attitude and with an intention to continue the learning path, then success is absolutely going to be yours, right? And PO will basically be the launching pad or that path that provides you that perfect launch pad to take you forward in your career and propel you to great heights, right? So this is what I want to share today, right? And the idea was to obviously थोड़ा motivate करें आप लोग को, थोड़ा engage करें from the perspective of यार ये PO बड़ी चीज है यार, it's a big thing, right? So it is a big exam, it is a highly coveted exam, it is a highly coveted post, but it's not just limited to public sector. It can open up tremendous amount of opportunities for you in life, in your career. So give it your absolute best shot. So on that note, this is Ravi signing off. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next session. But until then, have a great day and a wonderful week ahead. See you guys.